forgot to share sound, but go ahead, Larry.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Lppbbsg Primary Purpose Big Book Study Group. Our study follows a 96-week cycle and begins on on the title page and continues through page 164. We study spiritual experiences in Appendix 2 3 times when the asterisk refers us there. We also study Dr. Bob's Nightmare and the 12 Traditions. We close our study on week 96 by studying spiritual experience as a standalone meeting. Our meeting began January 7th, 2020, using this format, and we are grateful you are here to study. My name is Larry, and I am a recovered alcoholic.
And my name is Lisa, and I am a recovered alcoholic.
Before we begin, please be aware that the first 90 minutes of this study, of this meeting, will be recorded for our YouTube channel. If you missed the study portion, you can listen to it online. Study pages will be listed in the chat. Be sure to check out the information posted in the chat throughout the meeting for our other meeting times. Our announcements at this time. Do we have any announcements?
I'm Trish, and I'm an alcoholic. I think the only one we have is if you are in the area, we got Picklepalooza coming up on the weekend of July 17th. So if you're in the area, stop on by.
Jamie, grateful recovered alcoholic. We have a post-conference report coming up with our delegate, Heather L., this coming Sunday, the 28th. I will post the information. It'll be in person, but it'll also be a hybrid. So if you want to know what's going on and what happened at the General Service Conference this year, and you want to come hear all about it and ask questions of why and so on, please come join us. I'll get it posted in the chat in a couple of minutes. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Tonight's recap will start on page 77 under No Condition Do We Criticize, and end on page 79, Long Since Been Adjusted. Our study portion will start on page 80, Before Taking Drastic Action, and end on page 82, Face-to-Face Combat.
Please take a moment to settle in and get comfortable. We take our big book study seriously, and we want everyone to feel present and connected as we begin. In a moment, we'll have a 3-minute meditation, followed by our family's fog light prayer. As we move into the study, please help us maintain a peaceful environment. Please be mindful of background noise when you are unmuted. If you wouldn't do it in a live meeting, please don't do it on Zoom. Also, please stay muted during other people's shares. We will call on hands in the order they are raised.
From the forward to the first edition of Alcoholics Anonymous, we of Alcoholics Anonymous are many thousands of men and women who have recovered from a seamlessly hopeless state of mind and body to show other alcoholics precisely how we have recovered is the main purpose of this book and of this group. For the meditation, for the meditation focus on your breath and posture. Breathe in God and breathe out self. Take this time to reconnect with God and release the day.
And come on back. Would you like to join me in fog light prayer? God, let your love shine through us like a fog light, so that those that are lost, sick, and dying can find your love through us. Amen. And let's have our secretary's report. Come on in, Kenny.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kenny. I'm your recovered alcoholic secretary. I've asked Stephanie to read the recovered statement to explain why many in this group identified as recovered. Take it away, Stephanie.
Thank you. I'm Stephanie, grateful recovered alcoholic. We are not cured of alcoholism. Recovered, but not cured? That presents a conflict to some alcoholics. If we were cured, we would be able to drink responsibly. No, we are not cured. The allergic reaction to alcohol will remain with us for a lifetime. But we have been restored to sanity. That was the problem. The main problem of the alcoholic centers in his mind rather than in his body. Page 23. We are now sane where alcohol is concerned. Consequently, we have recovered. Thank you.
Okay, thank you again, Stephanie. We meet every Tuesday at 5:30 Central Time for fellowship, 6:30 p.m. Central Time for a book study. Chat is disabled during the study so we can focus. From the forward to the second edition, XXX, we of alcoholics who came to AA and really tried. 50% got sober at once. and remain that way. 25% sobered up after some relapses, and among the remainder of those who stay with AA showed improvement. Okay, if anybody joining the meeting for the first time, I'd like to say hello, we welcome you. Okay, I
Don't
see
see anybody. Maybe Rhonda, but I think I've seen her before, and maybe Jeff.
This is my first time. I'm Jeff, and I'm an alcoholic.
Welcome, Jeff.
Okay. Okay. Now a show of hands for the recovered alcoholic. These are your potential sponsors. Okay. Anyone celebrating a milestone this evening?
I'm Jeff, and I'm an alcoholic. Today makes 40 months.
All right.
Congratulations, Jeff.
Okay, if you need a big book, we can send a large print copy. Please let one of us know by the chat or after the meeting. Please practice the 7 traditions using the link in the chat. We encourage you to get a big book and work with an untreated alcoholic. Thank you, and see you next week. Enjoy your meeting.
Thank you, Kenny. From there is a solution. The tremendous fact for every one of us is that we have discovered a common solution. We have a way out on which we can absolutely agree and upon which we can join in brotherly and harmonious action. This is the great news this book carries to those who suffer from alcoholism. This is an open meeting and everyone is welcome. You are not required to identify yourself if you don't want to. Your anonymity will always be protected, and we ask that you protect ours also. Our group is for those who want to recover from alcoholism and have the desire to stop drinking for good and all. Each member of Alcoholics Anonymous is a potential sponsor of a new member and should clearly recognize the obligations and duties of such a responsibility.
Before we begin our study of the Big Book, last week we reviewed Tradition 10. Tonight we're going to take a quick look at Tradition 11. Please refer to page 562 of Alcoholics Anonymous. Come on in, Linda. You're muted.
Hi, my name is Linda. I am an alcoholic. Okay. Tradition 11. The short form, our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and film. I'm going to turn my volume up. Oh, it's up. Okay, the long form of Tradition 11. Our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. Public relations are important to AA. Good public relations saves lives. We seek publicity for AA principles, not AA members. The press has cooperated. Personal anonymity at the public level is a cornerstone of our public relations policy. 11th tradition is a constant reminder that personal ambition has no place in AA. Each member becomes an active guardian of our fellowship. I'm going to read Tradition 11, which is page 91 in Language of the Heart, October 1948. I'm not going to read all of it because it's very long, but Providence has been looking after the public relations of Alcoholics Anonymous. It can scarcely have been otherwise. Though we are more than a dozen years old, hardly a syllable of criticism or ridicule has ever been spoken of AA. Somehow we have been spared all the pains of medical or religious controversy, and we have good friends, both wet and dry, right and left. Like most societies, we are sometimes scandalous, but never yet in public. From all over the world, naught comes but keen sympathy and downright admiration, and our friends of the press and radio have outdone themselves. Anyone can see that we are in a fair way to be spoiled of our reputation is already so much better than our actual character. I'm going to skip over one paragraph, go straight to this. Good public relations are AA's lifelines, reaching out to the alcoholics who still does not know us. For years to come, our growth is sure to depend upon the strength and the number of these lifelines. One serious public relations calamity could always turn thousands away from us to perish, a matter of life and death, indeed. The future poses no greater problem or challenge to AA than how best to preserve a friendly and vital relation to all the world about us. Success will rest heavily upon right principles, a wise vigilance, and the deepest personal responsibility on part of every one of us. Nothing less will do. Else our brother may again turn his face to the wall because we did not care enough. So the 11th tradition stands sentinel over the lifelines, announcing that there is no need for self-praise, that it is better to let our friends recommend us, that our whole public relations policy, contrary to usual customs, should be based upon the principle of attraction rather than promotion. Shot in the arm methods are not for us. No press agents, no promotional devices, no big names. The hazards are too great. Immediate results will always be elusive because every shortcut to notoriety can generate permanent and smothering liabilities. More and more, therefore, we are emphasizing the principle of personal anonymity as it applies to our public relations. We ask of each other the highest degree of personal responsibility in this respect, as a moment we have been before now tempted to exploit the names of our well-known public characters. We have rationalized that other societies, even the best, do the same. As individuals, we have sometimes believed that the public use of our names could demonstrate our personal courage in the face of stigma, so lending power and conviction to news stories and magazines. But these are not the allures they once were. Vividly, we are becoming aware that no member ought to describe himself in full view of the general public as an AA, even for the most worthy purpose, lest a perilous proceeding be set which would tempt others to do likewise, for purposes not so worthy. We see that on breaking anonymity by press, radio, or pictures, any one of us could easily transfer the valuable name of Alcoholics Anonymous into any enterprise or into the midst of any controversy. So it's becoming our code that there are things that no AA ever does, lest he divert AA from its sole purpose and injure our public relations, and thereby the chance of those sick ones yet to come. Basically what they're saying at the level of press, radio, and film, we should maintain our anonymity. If you are a person that's in recovery and you want to share your experience, strength, and hope, and there was a show that, and it was in England, it was overseas, and they had the 12 steps dimmed out, so you could not see it. Like my background, it was faded out, so you can't really see it. But they showed the people in a round circle, and everyone's back was turned, and they had used different names, and they were sharing their experience, strength, and hope, and there was a whole big controversy about that. Now, if they want to go ahead and they want to share their experience, strength, and hope, they can. But we have to be careful how we do it. In meetings, you really can't take pictures because how do you know I want my picture to be in there? I don't know if you're going to post it on Facebook. That's breaking my anonymity. So it's in certain instances that AA is, shown, and just showing the people with their heads turned. You can't see their faces. Their voices may be this, what you might say. I forgot the word for it, but it may be changed so nobody can recognize. Some people's voices is distinct like mine's, and you'll know who I am if I start talking because my voice is distinct. And we have to maintain our anonymity, and we don't represent, you can't. They're also saying something in here about don't represent yourself as AA. Don't do that. I said it before, GSO will represent AA. What if I start representing myself as AA and then the next thing I drink? It's not the program that fails, it is the individual. But what will people think? I'm not an AA representative. I can never be an AA representative, and I don't need to go around breaking my anonymity. Tell you a quick story. There was a newscaster, young guy. He had a problem, with alcohol and drugs. And yes, he did break his anonymity. He talked about how great it is. He said the name of AA. He didn't say NA, he said AA. He talked about how, and people started having him on different shows. All of a sudden, they didn't see this guy no more. They saw less and less of him. Come to find out, this man drank and he died. And you can't say that AA fails. That was the individual that failed. So therefore, I can't get up there and start talking about this recovery and this and that because it's one day at a time for me. I know where I'm at right now. I know I'm sober now. I don't know what's going to happen to me tomorrow. So I don't need to be saying I am AA. I represent AA. No. And I do need to maintain, at the level of press, radio, and film. This is a program of attraction, not promotion. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Linda. We sometimes hear things in meetings that cannot be reconciled with the book. Tonight's topic is I'm a people pleaser. I need to learn to take care of myself. Joanne, what does page 61, paragraph 2 have to say about it?
You're muted, Joanne.
I'm sorry, I'm there. Okay, I'm ready. So I got it right here. Is he not really a self-seeker even when trying to be kind? Is that what I read?
Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
Thank you, Joanne.
And thank you, okay?
Thank you for your service, Linda and Joanne. And for our study instructions, be sure to use your pens, highlighters, and rulers as we study. We use the study guide prepared by Joe and Charlie and Krusty Cliff of the Dallas Primary Purpose Group to stay focused and consistent. We read the material once, then dissect it through question and answer format. After tonight's study is read, we will ask questions from the imaginary podium. The answers will be one sentence unless otherwise specified, and multi-part questions are simply a one-sentence answer split up by commas, semicolons, hyphens, and other fun bits of punctuation. This helps us understand and apply the content clearly.
After the study, we open the meeting for comments and questions based on the pages we have just read. Our purpose here is to stay in the book and let the message do the work. If a share drifts into something better handled with the sponsor, we'll kindly point you that way.
You can never go wrong by commenting on the pages studied, which brings us to the words of one of the co-founders of Alcoholics Anonymous. Sobriety, freedom from alcohol, through the teaching and practice of the 12 steps, is the sole purpose of any Alcoholics Anonymous group.
All right. Before we begin the recap tonight, we will need 5 or 6 virtual hands raised as volunteers to read our answers tonight. And I'm going to ask our recap reader to read tonight. The recap will start on page 77 under no condition do we criticize, and will end on page 79, long since been adjusted.
Is that my cue, Larry?
Yes, Shana. I'm sorry.
All right. No, that's okay.
That's you. You're
That's
our
me.
recap.
Shana, recovered alcoholic. Thank you. And for tonight's recap, under no condition do we criticize such a person or argue. Simply, we tell them that we will never get over drinking until we have done our utmost to straighten out the past. We are there to sweep off our side of the street, realizing that nothing worthwhile can be accomplished until we do so, never trying to tell him what he should do. His faults are not discussed. We stick to our own. If our manner is calm, frank, and open, we will be gratified with the result. In 9 cases out of 10, the unexpected happens. Sometimes the man we are calling upon admits his own fault. So feuds of years standing melt away in an hour. Rarely do we fail to make satisfactory progress. Our former enemies sometimes praise what we are doing and wish us well. Occasionally, they will offer assistance. It should not matter, however, if someone does throw us out of his office. We have made our demonstration, done our part. It's water over the dam. Most alcoholics owe money. We do not dodge our creditors. Telling them what we are trying to do, we make no bones about our drinking. They usually know it anyway, whether we think so or not. Nor are we afraid of disclosing our alcoholism on the theory it may cause financial harm. Approached in this way, the most ruthless creditor will sometimes surprise us. Arranging the best deal we can, we let these people know we are sorry. Our drinking has made us slow to pay. We must lose our fear of creditors, no matter how far we have to go, for we are liable to drink if we are afraid to face them. Perhaps we have committed a criminal offense, which might land us in jail if it were known to the authorities. We may be short in our accounts and unable to make good. We have already admitted this confidence to another person, but we are sure we would be imprisoned or lose our job if it were known. Maybe it's only a petty offense, such as padding the expense account. Most of us have done that sort of thing. Maybe we're divorced and have remarried, but haven't kept up the alimony to number 1. She is indignant about it and has a warrant out for our arrest. That's a common form of trouble too. Although these reparations take innumerable forms, there are some general principles which we find guiding. Reminding ourselves that we have decided to go to any lengths to find a spiritual experience, we ask that we be given the strength and direction to do the right thing, no matter what the personal consequences may be. We may lose our position or reputation or face jail, but we are willing. We have to be. We must not shrink at anything. Usually, however, other people are involved. Therefore, we are not to be the hasty and foolish martyr who would needlessly sacrifice others to save himself from the alcoholic pit. A man we know had remarried. Because of resentment and drinking, he had not paid alimony to his first wife. She was furious. She went to court, got an order for his arrest. He had commenced our way of life, had secured a position, and was getting his head above water. It would have been impressive heroics if he had walked up to the judge and said, "Here I am." We thought he ought to be willing to do that if necessary. But if he were in jail, he could not provide nothing. He could provide nothing for either family. We suggested he writes his first wife, admitting his faults and asking forgiveness. He did, and also sent a small amount of money. He told her what he would try to do in the future. He said he was perfectly willing to go to jail if she insisted. Of course she did not, and the whole situation has long since been adjusted.
Thank you, Sheila. And right before Shana, right before Sheila comes for our study portion, I could use a couple more virtual hands to read. Our study portion will start on page 80 before taking a drastic action and end on page 82, face-to-face comment. And it's going to be read from Sheila. Go ahead, Sheila.
Thank you. Before taking drastic action which might implicate other people, we secure their consent. If we have obtained permission, have consulted with others, ask God to help, and the drastic step is indicated, we must not shrink. This brings to mind a story about one of our friends. While drinking, he accepted a sum of money from a bitterly hated business rival, giving him no receipt for it. He subsequently denied having received the money and used the incident as a basis for discrediting the man. He thus used his own wrongdoing as a means of destroying the reputation of another. In fact, his rival was ruined. He felt he had done a wrong he could not possibly make right. If he opened that old affair, he was afraid it would destroy the reputation of his partner, disgrace his family, and take away his means of livelihood. What right had he to involve those dependent upon him? How could he possibly make a public statement exonerating his rival? After consulting with his wife and partner, he came to the conclusion that it was better to take those risks than to stand before his Creator guilty of such ruinous slander. He saw he had to place the outcome in God's hands, or he would soon start drinking again, and all would be lost anyhow. He attended church for the first time in many years. After the sermon, he quietly got up and made an explanation. His action met widespread approval, and today he is one of the most trusted citizens of his town. This all happened years ago. The chances are that we have domestic troubles. Perhaps we are mixed up with women in a fashion we wouldn't care to have advertised. We doubt if, in this respect, alcoholics are fundamentally much worse than other people. But drinking does complicate sex relations in the home. After a few years with an alcoholic, a wife gets worn out, resentful, and uncommunicative. How can she be anything else? The husband begins to feel lonely, sorry for himself. He commences to look around in the nightclubs, or their equivalent, for something besides liquor. Perhaps he is having a secret and exciting affair with the girl who understands. In fairness, we must say that she may understand, but what are we going to do about a thing like that? A man so involved often feels very remorseful at times, especially if he is married to a loyal and courageous girl who has literally gone through hell for him. Whatever the situation, we usually have to do something about it. We are sure our wife does not know. Should we tell her? Not always, we think. If she knows in a general way that we have been wild, should we tell her in detail? Undoubtedly, we should admit our faults. She may insist on knowing all the particulars. She will want to know who the woman is and where she is. We feel we ought to say to her that we have no right to involve another person. We are sorry for what we have done, and, God willing, it shall not be repeated. More than that, we cannot do. We have no right to go further. Though there may be justifiable exceptions, and though we wish to lay down no rule of any sort, we have often found this the best course to take. Our design for living is not a one-way street. It is as good for the wife as for the husband. If we can forget, so can she. It is better, however, that one does not needlessly name a person upon whom she can vent jealousy. Perhaps there are some cases where the utmost frankness is demanded. No outsider can appraise such an intimate situation. It may be that both will decide that the way of good sense and loving kindness is to let bygones be bygones. Each might pray about it, having the other one's happiness uppermost in mind. Keep it always in sight that we are dealing with that most terrible human emotion, jealousy. Good generalship may decide that the problem be attacked on the flank rather than risk a face-to-face combat. Thank you for letting me serve.
All right. Somebody has got some background noise. If
I got it.
all right. Okay. Okay. Our answer readers are going to be read at this lineup: Stephanie, Linda, Terry, Tanya, and Kenny tonight. And I want you to just answer it clearly, speak clearly, follow the text sentence by sentence. If you lose your place, you may pass or allow the question reader. You can just be guided by me. Please, nobody else guide the answer reader. Okay. This week's answer will begin with Stephanie. First question. If other people might be affected, what do we do?
Before taking drastic action which might implicate other people, we secure their consent.
All right. Linda, you have a three-part question, still one sentence. A, if they give permission, what is the first thing we do? B, after talking with our sponsor, what is the next step? And C, if it needs to be done, what do we do?
If we have obtained permission, have consulted with others, asked God to help, and the drastic step is indicated, we must not shrink.
And a comment for tonight. Since the consequences of this type of amend might be severe, we are given the second 9-step prayer, and it is buried in the preceding sentence. Ask who?
Okay. Terry, your question. What was the wrong that had to be righted? And please read the entire paragraph.
This brings to mind a story about one of our friends. While drinking, he accepted a sum of money from a bitterly hated business rival, giving him no receipt for it. He subsequently denied having received the money and used the incident as a basis for discrediting the man. He thus used his own wrongdoing as a means of destroying the reputation of another. In fact, his rival was ruined.
Tanya, your question. Did he believe there was any way he could make amends?
He felt that he had done a wrong he could not possibly make right.
Kenny, your question. It's a two sentences. If he made it known, for whom did he fear?
He felt that he had done wrong. He could not possibly make right.
No,
If he opened,
Kenny, if he opened the old affair,
if he opened the old affair, he was afraid it would destroy the reputation of his partner, disgrace his family, and take away his means of livelihood.
one more sentence.
What right had he to involve those dependent upon him?
Thank you, Kenny. Stephanie, your question. What was the question facing him?
How could he possibly make a public statement exonerating his rival?
Linda, another two-parter, one sentence. A, who did he talk to about this problem? And B, after talking with them, what conclusion did he arrive at?
After consulting with his wife and partner, he came to the conclusion that it was better to take those risks than to stand before his Creator guilty of such ruinous slander.
Terry, you have also a two-parter. A, what did he see he had to do? And B, what did he know would happen if he didn't make the amend?
He saw that he had to place the outcome in God's hands, or he would soon start drinking again, and all would be lost anyhow.
Tanya, your question is two sentences. How did he make this amend?
He attended church for the first time in many years. After the sermon, he quietly got up and made an explanation.
Kenny, your question also two sentences. What were the results?
His action met widespread approval, and today he is one of the most trusted citizens in his town.
One more sentence.
This all happened years ago.
Yes. Stephanie, what is the next type of problem to be examined?
The chances are that we have domestic troubles.
Linda, what would we perhaps not like to have generally known?
Perhaps we are mixed up with, perhaps we are mixed up with women in a fashion we wouldn't care to have advertised.
Terry, are alcoholics the only ones that do this sort of thing?
We doubt if, in this respect, alcoholics are fundamentally much worse than other people.
Tanya, what does drinking do to our sex life at home?
but drinking does complicate sex relations in the home.
Kenny, living with a drinking alcoholic does what to a wife?
After a few years with an alcoholic, a wife gets worn out, resentful, and uncommunicative.
Stephanie, can she help it?
How could she be anything else?
Linda, as she withdraws, what goes on with him?
The husband begins to feel lonely, sorry for himself.
Terry, he starts doing what?
He commences to look around in the nightclubs or their equivalent for something besides liquor.
Tanya, 2 sentences. What may he have going, hopefully unknown to interested parties?
Perhaps-
What may he have going, hopefully unknown to interested parties?
Thank you. Perhaps he's having a secret and exciting affair with the girl who understands. In fairness, we must say that she may understand, but what are we going to do about a thing like that?
Kenny, what does a man doing this sort of thing normally feel?
A man so involved often feels very remorseful at times, especially if he is married to a loyal and courageous girl who has literally gone to hell for him.
Stephanie, whatever the situation, we normally do what?
Whatever the situation, we usually have to do something about it.
Linda, if the wife doesn't know, what do we generally do? 2 sentences.
Wait a minute. If we
are sure.
Okay. If we are sure our wife does not know, should we tell her?
Another sentence.
We think.
Okay.
Not always we think.
That's it. Terry, if she does know in a general way, what should we do? 2 sentences.
If she knows in a general way that we have been wild, should we tell her in detail? Undoubtedly, we should admit our fault.
Tanya, if she wants to know all the details, what do we do? 3 sentences.
She must insist on knowing all the particulars. She will want to know who the woman is and where she is. We feel we ought to say to her that we have no right to involve another person.
Kenny, how do we feel about what we have done?
We are sorry for what we have done, and God willing, it shall not be repeated.
Stephanie, what else can we do?
More than that, we cannot do. We have no right to go further.
Linda, 3-part. A, may there be exceptions? B, do we consider the foregoing a rule? And C, is the preceding suggestion based on opinions or on experience?
Start off at more, right?
Though there may be justifiable.
Though there may be justifiable exceptions, and though we wish to lay down no rule of any sort, we have often found this is the best course to take.
Terry, is our program just for the alcoholic?
Our design for living is not a one-way street.
Tanya, who else can profit by it?
It is as good for the wife as for the husband.
Kenny, if we can forget, what about her?
If we can forget, so can she.
Stephanie, what is the best thing to do?
It is better, however, that one does not needlessly name a person upon whom she can vent jealousy.
Linda, some cases may demand what?
Perhaps there are some cases where the utmost frankness is demanded.
Terry, who besides the couple can decide?
No outsider can appraise such an intimate situation.
Tanya, what may happen?
It may be that both will decide that the way of good sense and loving kindness is to let bygones be bygones.
And another comment. The following is the third 9-step prayer. It deals with infidelity.
Kenny, what might each do?
Each might pray about it, having the other one's happiness utmost in mind.
Stephanie, we must remember we are dealing with what emotion?
Keep it always in sight that we are dealing with that most terrible human emotion, jealousy.
And Linda, you got the last question? Good generalship may do what?
Good generalship may decide that the problem be attacked on the flank rather than a risk of face-to-face combat.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to all of our readers, and let everybody, all of our readers, mute yourselves. And anybody with experience with these pages that are read tonight, you can feel free to share with what has been said. So first hand up, Sheila, would you like to share on experience, strength, and hope on what we just read?
Well, I'd like to share a perspective. I think it's great. You know, I know that that both sides are taken into account. You know, the wife, or you know, we're all human. You know, we're all human, and we're all worthy of being forgiven. We're all going to make mistakes, and I think it's great that the perspective, even though it was written this most, you know, like To the Wives was written by Bill Wilson, even though Lois wanted to give input on it, he didn't let her, and then later he regretted it. I think maybe it sounds like maybe this might be the same situation, but he did take into account both sides of the story of the coin, and there's two sides to every coin. I think it's awesome that he brings in that the way we deal with it is to give it to God and to pray for each other, like it says, you know, later on in the book. We pray every day for 2 weeks for everything that we would want for ourselves, for the other person, and we try to see that person the way God would be looking at that person and the situation. And mutual respect, mutual love. And this program is amazing, but I just wanted to throw in that perspective. And of course, that's Al-Anon. My sponsor actually has me starting to read an Al-Anon book, and it's just dovetailed exactly with the program. And this is a program of a way to live for everybody. As a teacher, I wish I had entered Alcoholics Anonymous when I was teaching. I had lost my job at the age of 60. I came in at 62, but I would have used all these steps all day, every day, and I know I made a difference, but I could have made a difference to my full potential, to help in the eyes of God. But now I know I know what to do and I know how to act, and I'm just really, really grateful for this program. I just wanted to throw in the comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila, and I do appreciate those comments for a number of reasons. One is it was not only a perspective, but it was a perspective on topic of what we just read, and that is exactly what we're looking for. And keep in mind that we do have the 5-minute timer that you'll see up there, and it's not an exactness. If you're running a few seconds, you can finish your thought and everything, but it's there so that everybody has an opportunity to share. But we are thankful for those comments and observations for the material that we read. Thank you, Sheila. And now, Lisa, do I see your hand up? Or is it left over? No, you are our host. Excuse me. You want to share?
She may have stepped away, but I'll jump in if you'd like. I'm Trish, and I'm an alcoholic. And one of the things that this reading reminds me is, if my amends are affecting other people, I have to keep them in mind. I can't make an amends just to make myself feel better if it's going to drag somebody else in. If the possible consequences of my amends are going to affect other people, I need to discuss that with them prior to. But at the same time, if my behavior that I'm making an amends for was public, like the gentleman who stood up in church, he made a public amends because everybody knew about it. It wasn't a private act, so the amends needs to also be a place where everyone is going to see it. But like any amends that I make, he was willing to put it in God's hands, realizing that God's going to be the one in control of the amends, of what he says, and of what the response is going to be also. But if I have an amends that's going to involve another person, I also have to remember to say, I don't need to tell you because that's going to cause more harm. I don't want to cause somebody more harm if it's something they don't know. I don't want to cause more harm to someone and point out, like where it was talking about, the wife may want to know all the particulars. She may want to know who the woman was and where she is. We feel we ought to say to her, we have no right to involve that other person. I don't want to give that name. I don't want to name drop and allow someone else to drag her name down further, drag her through the mud, because it's not fair to her. I need to make the amends to the person that I'm making the amends to. But I can't do it at somebody else's expense. That's not going to make the whole situation better, and it's certainly not going to make it better for either person. So I've got to make sure that when I'm making my amends, I'm not dragging somebody else in needlessly, but I'm also not just randomly name dragging to say, I did this because of this other person, because I don't want them to go after them then. But as always, I need to pray about it. And if there's another person involved, invite them to pray about it. And there was one situation, and it was an amends that I don't expect I'm ever going to hear. So it wasn't an amends I was getting, an amends that could have been made to me. I'm not holding my breath for it. I still need to forgive. And I did spend a lot of time praying for that other person's happiness as a part of my forgiveness. Because if I'm praying for them to be happy, I can't be holding on, and I can't still be harboring those ill feelings. Because I can't be forgiving if I want them to be, or I can't be not forgiving if I want them to be happy. So I've got to keep the other person in mind. I've got to bring God into the process. And I don't want to bring other people in needlessly that could be made targets as a result. And that's all I've got tonight. Thanks.
The floor is open.
Hi, my name is Linda. I'm an alcoholic. I just wanted to say that this is a very good read. You know, it gets really into the part about people and what their choices are. And, you know, like what Trish was saying, this is what I learned in AA. Don't make amends at the expense of other people. Just don't do that. And it says it in here. You have to use discretion. Should I make this amends or should I not? Because we are involving other people if we start making amends, and it had something to do with infidelity. You know, we have to understand it may make that person flip out on us, on whatever, but we have to use discretion before we make our amends. And some people are not ready for us to make amends to them. We have no business making amends to them. I made amends to a family member too soon, and she was still in her insanity. So only thing happened to me is she cussed me out, you know, and I knew from then on, don't. You cannot make amends just like that. You just can't. You have to look at that person's state of mind. You can't, you know. And when I made amends to her, I can look at it now, even though she cussed me out and it hurt me deeply, I can look at it now in an through empathetic glasses. When I bring that up, how do I know that didn't freaking hurt her? See? So I take a look at you know how we always have to take a look at our part? Yeah, she went off and this and that, and yeah, she was drinking, but I can't brush it off and say, oh, she was drinking, that's why she did that. She didn't accept my man, she was drinking, you know, she just, you know, and she was so disrespectful, and this and that, and I didn't have no business talking to her anyway. If I read this book and I really try to understand what it's saying, some people you don't need to make amends to because it may hurt them. And maybe at that time it hurt her. You know, it hurt her because I bring it up again. How do I know how she felt? You know, me making her amends to her and saying that even if I was truly sorry, even if I was, you know, all this finding out about me and my defects of character, doesn't matter. And you know, if you're drinking, every and anything you went through, it's still right up there. You're still hurting from it. You're still living it. So for me to do that, it was like just a thorn in the side, in the back, and then twisting it. You know, because of her state of mind. She's still living in all of that hurt. From me, from this person, she's still living in it. So it just bring up more hurt. You know, and at that time, I really shouldn't have. And I didn't know. I mean, now I can look back on it, and possibly that's what the situation was. On top of her drinking, too. You know, but you have to use good discretion when you make amends. You know, that's why they say, to the 8th step, make a list. Get it all in order. Get it organized. And then there's the category, now, later, or never. Some people you can't make amends to, because if you do, it'd be the death for you. Or you may end up in jail, or this, or that. You know, it's a tricky thing, making amends. You have to use good discretion. And it's best to consult with someone that has made amends. And it's best to read what's here in this big book. And it talks about how to make the amends and the effects that it has on other people. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Linda.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm an alcoholic. Come in for a minute. What great information. That's why it's so important. You know, this is our guide, this big book, and working with a sponsor and bringing God in. We really have to take into consideration everybody involved. And, you know, before reading this and doing this study, I never would have thought that. You know, I was all stuck in my self-seeking motives and actions and behaviors. You know, this is, we don't want to, um, make even more resentments, you know, by dragging other people in. Um, so yeah, a lot of good information. And, you know, like I said, my thinking, my brain would have never thought like this before doing this work. And some amends, you know, like my people that have passed, you know, things about being willing and trying to live a better life. That's an amends, a living amends. You know, there's a lot of different ways, and you know, working with a sponsor and asking God to guide you. It'll come. But yeah, we have to look around the whole situation and make sure we're not making a bigger problem by bringing people in that don't need to be brought into it. Or if, like it says on page 80, before taking any action, which might implicate other people, you know, we secure their consent. You know, if we have permission and consulted others and asked God to help us, we must not shrink. Yeah, this is why it was so very important. Many years ago, I tried to do a little bit of this work, and you know, I was doing it on my own, and you know, and talking to the people involved, and they weren't happy. I wasn't doing it the right way. Wasn't getting help. I wasn't bringing God in. I wasn't thinking of others. And it didn't work well for me. Like Linda was saying, a couple people got upset with me. But I think I was doing it for the wrong reasons. And right here, this guideline is just perfect. And it really helped me. And it helps me to look at other people, which I have to do daily. You know, I don't want newer resentments or newer pain. I'm trying to get rid of it, not add to it. So on a daily basis, I have to look at all that. And I do that by thinking of others first. I put me last. I try to. But that disease, it's right there. It's very close. It's always watching, trying to get me. But, you know, as long as I stay with God, practice his principles, kindness, patience, tolerance, love, forgiveness, and put other people ahead and think of other people first. I think things turn out all right. And that's enough for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Anyone else? We got plenty of time, and I know this is sometimes like a dental chair on a subject like this. We don't want to talk about some of the personal amends like the heavy ones, but we don't have to get into personal detail. In fact, we shouldn't. Yes, Shayna.
Hello, Shayna, recovered alcoholic. I may lose you here in a second, but if you be patient with me, it comes right back. But just this bit of, I really got to absorb tonight. Thank you, everybody, for who put this all together. The hosting, the co-hosting, all the background work. I mean, Tradition 11, that ain't in the book, and our reading and the recap. I'll just kind of start near the beginning. Did I lose you?
Nope. Keep going.
No? Okay. All right, I'm pulling the driveway. Starting up at the beginning, on Tradition 11, while Linda was sharing, it brought me back to when I was in treatment, and how they very strongly separated Alcoholics Anonymous, and, inpatient rehab or, detox, to the point where the counselors did not even share at the AA meetings. But they pretty much, brought us on a field trip. And they were very careful not to associate themselves with AA as, hey, we're AA members and this is what we do. And, because what happens, they say, that would speak for Alcoholics Anonymous as a whole, not as the individual. Everybody kind of has their own thing. Sometimes we practice the principles and we do what the book suggests. Sometimes we do it buffet style and think it doesn't necessarily work. And it also brought me back to, I don't know if you all recall Matthew Perry and how, somebody's a big celebrity like that, and they say, oh, he's affiliated with AA and he relapsed and this and that. Like, wait a minute, he doesn't speak for AA as a whole. And, there are times when I'm looking for a speaker or, on YouTube, and I really wish I could see who that was that is sharing right now. But I don't. And, maybe there's something for that. Like I can hear the voice and I know, Bob D or Sandy B or, but I think the important piece is not necessarily who they are as far as who they're affiliated with, what makes them super popular, but the message that they're sharing. What was given to them, they get to give away. So I think it's important, especially and as we all know, us alcoholics are filled with personality, and you don't want that to get in the way of the program and the message. Sorry, we just got home. So then going into that in the book, that was fantastic. I just remember trying to play the victim very early in sobriety. Sometimes I still do, and I want to call my sponsor and justify and explain, what it is that this person did and, why I resent them. And woe is me. And luckily I have a good sponsor, and that's not the case. Just the other day, I was explaining my situation, and in my head, I'm thinking, I'm going to hear how I am so right. And it turned out, she asked me, she said, well, what did you learn? And I said, as I stumbled around all the things that I was trying to figure out, I said, at the end, I said, well, to be honest with you, I don't think I learned anything, because I think I was pretty self-righteous. And she said, crazy how we do that, right? So she Miyagi's me. As she helps me see what it is that I'm not willing to see, because I'm delusional at certain times. Oh, sugar, I'll try to be faster. But that's kind of what the disease does. It blocks out my part. If I'm not willing to see it, or if I'm not doing a frequent inventory to look at myself, because I can look at everybody else and I can tell you what's wrong with you, if it avoids me looking at me. And I just, that's my thing. I'm self-absorbed. I'm the one. It's always about me and how I might be inconvenienced, or I might think, I'm so super duper right, and that's not the case. A little bit more on the reading, the recap, at least, that I was reading, and it got right to it, the fear, the avoidance with the creditors. I've made so many messes, in active addiction and in sobriety. But I guess if I sit there and I let it scare me, I'll get paralyzed. And if I'm willing to give it to God and trust that, it's really going to be okay, and I ask for help and what to do, just as simple as, I remember I had a conversation with a creditor, probably overshared and made him really uncomfortable, but they eventually were like, oh, well, congratulations to you. Good job. They kind of backed off a little, but I still owe, money, and I'm sure that I will continue making mistakes and learning from them. And if I don't, I'll keep making those same mistakes, and it'll keep getting more painful, until, hey, maybe there's time, maybe I should try something different. But, when listening to all of this, I started feeling a little anxious, and I thought, oh my goodness, I got to do so much. I got to do this right now. And then I thought, whoa. This is the whole point. This is a life journey. This is a program of progress, not perfection. And thank goodness, thank God for that. Thank you all for that, because I know I've got a long way to go, and I know that I've come a long way, but I have a lot of work to do, and I hope that I keep learning from you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sheila, come on in.
Oh, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Sheila, alcoholic. Just a quick double dip, just on my experience, because I didn't bring that in to my first share. Just wanted to say that my story, I was only married for 4 years of my life. I had always had a relationship going on, and I did 4 or 5 years, and then I set myself to be knocked down, figuring I'd be knocked down eventually anyway. That's how I rolled, and find someone new right away. So I was always in a relationship, and I remember, as soon as people started finding out the issues, my isms, and saw my my disease rearing its ugly head, and figured out what I was at the time, that I began to be resentful. And I remember getting at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, to go close down bars while the person was sleeping, and coming home like at 5:30 after just being, and I only would share with the sponsor, but I owed a lot of amends to people who had since, at 62, from for the 50 years I've been drinking. I wrote a lot. I did write letters and cards, but like it said, they were just kind of in a general way. A couple of people I couldn't read anything, and I just, I did make amends to God, and I didn't have a lot of techniques at the time that were suggested by by like Jamie with the brick and everything. I wish I had. I would have written a written letter on a brick, and but most of all, I really did think about how it would have harmed them, other people, and I do think about that all the time. Even now, I was thinking about trying to find my birth parents. You know, I was adopted at birth, and I thought, no, unless to do so would injure them or others. My mother would be she's only 15, was only 15, so she'd be old enough to be my sister. And at this point in her life, she'd be 85 or 88, and rather, and who knows what kind of life she would have. Would I be interfering? I don't want to take that chance. So I've made amends with God, and with her. I've made amends to myself for letting myself go to the end of my life without knowing anything, like, which is for drinking. And it isn't anymore, because I'm forgiven and I'm loved by as a unique child of God, and I know that my birth mother, through working the steps, loved me so much to make that sacrifice. It wasn't abandonment, and what these steps do for us in our perspective of everything. And I pray for her and whoever my father is, that the best things possible in their lives, you know. Um, anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. I had I had done a lot of harms, multiples, because I never settled down with one person. And that's because of this disease. I wish I had gotten this earlier, but I didn't, and that must have been in God's plan, because there's a reason. So thanks for letting me share that. And this program is quite amazing. Thank you.
All right, let me, I was gonna come in here for just a minute. I do know that when I got into Alcoholics Anonymous, I learned some things. First of all, I learned that I had to learn to breathe and to forgive myself for a lot of things that I had done. And I learned that I had to begin living, even though I had done some things that I had done. And as I started the process of doing the clearing out the wreckage of my past and making my amends through the 8th and 9th steps, as I really got busy, I realized that there were many things in my life that I could not do without first contacting and talking to other people in my lives. Because I did want to just rush out and make all these amends and all these, I wanted to feel good inside. I wanted to feel clean inside, I just wanted to get rid of everything I had done and, and have this come to God moment, and be done with it all. But I had learned that some of the things that I had done, I needed to get permission to talk with other people, and it was a moment of clarity in my life that God had to teach me to slow down and to let him work in me as well as through me, and and I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for this program, that it's not all about me, that it is also about me taking care of people around me, that I'm not just thinking about myself, that I'm thinking about the whole picture, because God knows the whole picture. And when the time comes and amends can be made in other things in my life, I'm willing. I'm willing to make any amends that in my life. And when I got to that place, when I got to the place that I was willing, and there was no I will nots in my amends list. I will not make that amends. I will not make those. When it got to when you're ready, God, and when an opportunity gets to it, and I'm able, I will. I will. God then began to take the guilt and that icky feeling away from me. And I began to be okay with myself, and I could love myself again. And that's the process. It's the process of forgiveness, of God forgiving me and me forgiving myself, and life, living life on life's terms. I just want to throw that out. And is there, Jamie, you want to say something? Your hand is up.
No, my hand automatically raised itself. I got nothing to say. Hi, family.
Right.
Okay. All right. I was just kidding, but that's okay.
Okay. Well,
I'm sorry. I wanted to double dip. I just wanted to say something because someone shared something, and you shared something, and it triggered. And it made me think about, when I make amends to somebody, like using my sister, for example, with that situation, I was bringing up old wounds, old hurts. And apparently she hadn't resolved it. She hadn't healed from it. And as they say, hurt people hurt people. So, I mean, now today I can understand her reaction. But yeah, when we make amends, we have to understand that's what we're doing. And maybe that person's not ready because they're still hurting from it. Thank you for letting me share.
Did Jamie leave?
I think he bounced.
Did he bounce? I didn't mean to make him mad. All right.
You gotta make amends. You have to make amends.
I have to make amends to him. I will. All right. If there's no other, there's nothing else, then I guess Lisa, you want to close
It's
us out?
that time. From page 164, our book is meant to be suggestive only. We realize we only know a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and to us. Ask him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. The answers will come if your own house is in order. But obviously you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See it that your relationship with him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is the great fact for us. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then. We will close with a moment of silence and the Lord's Prayer. Here's your moment. Who brings us from shame to grace if we let him? Our Father, who art in heaven, thy will be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, everybody. Everybody for your service and for coming tonight.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for the meeting.
Shares. Good shares. Everyone take care.
Good meeting,
Good night,
everybody.
everyone.
Good night.
Yeah, thanks everybody.